really nice to be here once again, and this is second part of our series talking to the single people who are getting ready or looking for relationships or looking out for that person, Miss Right, Mr. Right, at this time. We've done the first part. Please ensure that you listen to that part, and then this part we'll continue from where we left off last week. Okay? Now, I talked to the girls, now I'm talking to the guys. What are the kind of girls that exist out there, that you need to know and be aware of? All right? One is Miss Gold Digger. That one is obvious. She doesn't really have time for all these affections and things. It's all about your purse. How much money what can she get? So she doesn't mince words about taking stuff from you. Now, much as I think men should be generous to women, and I think that one of the things a girl should look out for in a guy is his generosity, you also don't want to be the gold digger who just wants only money, and you don't want the gold digger who just wants money. Okay, so be careful. When she asks you to buy her airtime, then she asks you, she never calls. You are the one who always calls. And anytime you go out, she never gives you anything, and she always collects stuff. Just know that won't stop if you eventually end up with her. So be careful. Okay. Then there's Miss Lost Puppy. That one just feels that the man is totally responsible for me. I need not think for myself. Okay. So she leaves everything to you and she's kind of dependent, I don't think there's any man who's really equipped to manage a woman who's that dependent. So you need to also be careful. If she's constantly whining and needy and always wanting to lean and always wanting to take responsibility, you have a problem. She's not ready. So you too, don't be the one that ends up with a lady like that. Then there's the one who constantly nags you like your mom, the way your mom would. You don't want another mom. You already have one mommy. That's enough. Okay. So, and you definitely don't want a mom in a mother, in a wife or a girlfriend. Okay. So please don't make that mistake of allowing someone who is constantly complaining about something you're doing and constantly criticizing what you're doing and constantly expecting you to do it a little better and is wanting to take control and show you how to do it. That's not the woman for you. She might be good for some other guy, but not you. So be careful. Be careful about those kind of things and look out for them. Don't just assume because maybe she's a pretty girl, you're just taking with her looks because men are moved by what they see. You're taking with her looks and you're not noticing these other things because ultimately the looks, trust me, no matter how beautiful she is, by the time she comes into your home, her looks will mean nothing against the background of her constantly nagging you. You don't want that. And then there's Miss Baggage. That one has been manhandled by a lot of other people. So she's coming with history, bad relationship history, and is constantly taking it out on you. So she's on defensive half the time. She's expecting you to do the wrong things half the time. She's surprised when you don't ill-treat her because she's always been ill-treated. She just comes with a lot of baggage. And because of that, you're constantly trying to whine her, constantly trying to validate her. And you make so much effort to do it. You don't need to make that much effort to validate the person you're in a relationship with. It is not good for you because ultimately it's not sustainable. You can't do it, forever. You can't keep doing that. And that's why we started with the whole thing by talking about you need to know yourself and you need to know God. And you also need to be looking for someone who knows herself and knows God. So that at the end of the day, there are two whole people coming together, not one whole person getting together with someone who needs help, and then there's that schism. And it ultimately puts too much pressure on the relationship. And you don't need that. Okay, so Miss Baggage, look out for it. If she's talking about Mr. from before, that's how you guys are. That's how, you need to be careful. You don't need to be compared constantly to something that was bad in her life before you. No. If she has those bad relationships, for you to know that she's whole, she should be able to give you a clean slate to work with and not keep referring to her past in being with you. So look out for those things and please, 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 don't settle for them. There are other girls, okay? Lastly, is the lady that I think you should be looking out for, the life giver. Now, every woman is a life giver. When you give a woman anything, no matter how small, she will give it life. And that's why she's also able to give the seeds you sow inside her life and they become children. So, this person is someone who is comfortable with herself, loves herself, is full of confidence and self-esteem. Anytime she comes into your space, she brings laughter, joy, life into your space. She doesn't make you feel bad about yourself. You feel comfortable being with her. You feel comfortable with yourself. And you feel comfortable with her. Now, this kind of person is the kind of person that you can live with, and your friendship is constantly growing. Why? Because she's also growing. Okay, she gives you the chance to be yourself, accepts you for who you are, and expect you to do the same for her. And, it's just easy to be with her. You don't have to think too much when you're in her space. That is the person you are looking for. Just like the gardener is the person the girl is looking for, the one who tends, cares, is constantly looking out for her and wanting to. So you imagine that you are the gardener and that she's the life giver. You know what that means. You come together and it's an explosion of God's goodness. Okay? So you are looking for your gardener and the guy is looking for his life giver, the girl is looking for her gardener. When they come together, my God, it becomes that relationship that you're looking for. That is sustainable because you guys have already taken care of yourselves in God before you got to meet with each other, and then you can now get together. Now, so you now go through that whole friendship process and you get to the point where you agree, okay, we want to be married. What are the things to talk about when you're talking about marriage? What are the things to look out for? First, of course, is that God is your foundation. You must both be in agreement about that. We don't just think that people should be married to people who are compatible with them in faith. We're thinking about compatibility beyond the fact that you're both people of faith, but that you believe in the same things, you want to do the same things. I mean, I remember when I was getting married, there's this guy who we had this thing, and what put him off me was that I was a church rat. He said I was a church rat. I said, Mitch, I don't want anybody who's going to give me stress about being in church. I can be in church from Friday. In fact, at that time, we used to be in church from Friday evening all the way to Sunday. Not sleeping in church, but we will go to do something or the other in church. It's either a departmental meeting or a church meeting or a service or something we're doing in church. And we will keep at it until Sunday, and then get ready for work for Monday. So, and I didn't want a guy who was offended about that. So he didn't want a girl who was always in church. So we just didn't even get much further than that, So it's not just about being in faith, but being, compatible in faith. Okay, so it's important that you talk about your faith and talk about the things that matter most to you. Finances. How are you going to manage your finances? Is it going to be joint account? Is it going to be everybody doing their own thing? What is your take on it? Family. What is your take on extended family? How do you think of in-laws? Are my people going to come? Are your people going to come? What is the balance we're going to find? How are we going to treat our extended family? Children. How many children do you want? Do you want 2? Do you want 3? What are their names? What kind of life do we want? How to spend money? How are you going to? Are you the kind of person who thinks going on holiday is a waste of money? Or are you the kind of person who wants to, different things? People have different opinions about these things. You need to discuss them. Your conversations must be such that they affect what you are doing. Now, if you get together and, at your dates when you go out, all you talk about is other people, other things that don't matter to 2 of you in particular, then you're going to have problems when you get married. So discuss the real things that are real deal and real issues. In-laws, sex, talk about it. Of course, I'm not expecting you to be sleeping with each other because it is not godly to sleep with someone you're not married to. And that might seem like a far-fetched rule in in the 21st century, but it is still God's word and it still works. God still expects you to be chaste as you get married. So don't treat it trivially and treat it casually, because when you start to sleep with him, you're going to miss the point entirely. You're not going to be able to do the discernment we're talking about. You're not going to be able to really position yourself properly for each other. And you're going to have, a covering over your life that's not of God because you're not married. Sex is for marriage. It's not for outside of marriage. And so when you do sex when you're not married, what happens? You develop soul ties that are not godly soul ties. And ungodly soul ties just spell trouble. If you're supposed to notice something about a girl and you're sleeping with her, you will not notice it. If you're supposed to see something about a guy and you're sleeping with him, you're not going to see it. And you end up with this guy who is not going to be a gardener to you simply because you couldn't wait for sex. It's amazing how single people want to have sex all the time and married people don't want to have sex at all. We need to have sex only in the right context, and that's in the context of marriage. Is this old-fashioned? Call it what you like. It's godly counsel. Take it and you'll be blessed for it. Okay? So what are the things you think about sex? What are the things you think about the things that really matter in marriage? In-laws, finances, how do you resolve your conflicts? Parenting, how are you going to raise your kids? I know of families that are fragmented and not happy simply because the husband and wife are not in agreement as to how the kids are being raised. In fact, I know a couple who totally got divorced because the woman felt my children ought to get the best education, and the man felt you're putting us under too much pressure. It caused a problem, and eventually they split ways. So you need to know, okay, that you must be, thinking at this along the same line. And you don't really have to be thinking the same thing, but at least you need to agree about these things. So if your husband is the guy is the kind of person who doesn't think this is supposed to be like this, and you don't think this is supposed to be like that. But when you talk about it, you can now agree, okay, this is how we're going to do it. So, an instance, he wants you to have a joint account. You don't think you should have a joint account. You're not in agree. You're not saying the same thing, but you can agree that certain percentage of our resources will be in a joint account, and the other percent will be. That way, you meet each other halfway, and you are both happy. But it must be discussed. If it's not discussed, it will cause a problem when you do get married. Discuss these issues, and you'll be fine. One of the major things that a lot of people don't recognize when they are in courtship or when you're just dating is your rules when you eventually get married. It needs to be clear to you what your rules are. Okay? Now, the rules also of engagements should be clear to you. For instance, the word submission brings out, like, your ears start to tingle once a girl hears submission. She feels it's oppression. Submission is not oppression. Submission is just an attitude that you take towards your husband because that's what God says. Okay? And you take it if you do it in the right attitude, you'll be fine. So the word of God says men should love their wives and women should submit. But beyond the loving and submitting, so the man is the spiritual leader of the home. The man provides spiritual leadership. So he's the priest who takes the home to God, and he's also the prophet who brings a word from God to the family. And that's what gives him the wisdom for leadership and direction to direct his family. That is very key. The man is also the one that gives the vision for the family, how he wants his family to be. He should know and should be clear to him. Okay? He's also the provider. Don't balk at provision. Don't complain about provision so that the provision of the flow of God's goodness and provision in your life does not truncate because you are complaining. Receive that as a rule, and God will always enable you. Okay? You are the one also as the man who provides the discipline in the home for your children. You are the key disciplinarian in the home. Your wife supports what you do what is acceptable to you cannot be acceptable in the home. Okay, so you provide discipline. You provide validation of every member of your family, your wife and children. They must feel loved, they must feel accepted, and your presence matters. You must bring your presence into their lives. So you must take responsibility for being in their lives. You can't be with the boys when you haven't been with your children. You can't constantly say you're at work, you're busy. You must find time to be with your family. Okay, so your involvement and your presence is very important to the family. Okay, and those are your roles basically as husband and father in a family situation. Now, the woman, on the other hand, the word of God says you should submit unto your husband. Now, submission shouldn't be such a terrible thing to you. And when we hear submission in the 21st century, we tend to feel like it's boxing us. It's not about boxing you. It's about putting yourself under authority because you're only protected. You're only protected to the extent that you can be everything that you need to be when you are under authority. And that's what submission is about. It's an attitude. It's a way you do things, not necessarily your husband suppressing you. That's not what it is, okay? So don't balk at it. Do it joyfully so that God can bless you as the wife, all right? You are the helpmate. You are the one supposed to help your husband fulfill destiny. So you are like the Holy Spirit of your home, okay? So you are the one who puts things in order and provides the spirit in which your home operates. So if your husband doesn't want to come, it's because you're not doing something right. Your home must be such that it is conducive and beautiful and has an ambience that is irresistible to your family members. So that when they come, they are at total rest in your home. So you find a lot of pressure outside, but when they come in, they must be at peace and at rest. That goes for your husband and your children, and that is your role and responsibility. So of course you're expected to have children. You will have the children. So it's not about you can't be talking about not wanting children, because God wants you to have children. So you will be the mother of the children and you will be the keeper of your home. Now, does that mean you will not bring money home? No. It just means that whatever money you bring is support for your husband. It is your husband's role to bring money. Okay? Does that mean that you have to clean your house yourself? No. You can delegate that. But it's not just about a clean house, it's about the spirit of your house. And that you can do from wherever you are. You don't have to be inside the house for it to happen. It's you who creates it, and you do it in cognizance, in partnership with the Holy Spirit and with God. So it's all very spiritual, isn't it? Yes, life is spiritual. Don't be mistaken. Everything about life starts somewhere. It's in the spirit before it now translates to what you see and what you don't see. So don't be afraid to engage spiritually with stuff. And don't be afraid to think of life as a spiritual thing. And don't think it's gooky or geeky or old-fashioned. It's not. Life emanates from the spirit realm. So you must engage in the spirit realm to have the life you really want here. That is true and even for marriage and relationships. And so at the end of the day, what we're trying to say is God has a plan for your life, and you mustn't be afraid or reluctant to engage with God concerning relationship and marriage. It's so key because another person is involved, and when you do get married, children will come out of it. If you don't create the right relationship, children don't thrive, and when they don't thrive, they become problems to society and to you. So there's every reason for you to try to do it right from the word go. Now, I've been married for 24 years, and I've seen a lot of things go wrong in a lot of marriages. Now, the fact that you start right doesn't even mean that you will end right. So there's a need for you to have the right attitude so that even after you've gotten married, you keep working it, because marriage requires work, and some of the work is not always comfortable work. So you need to understand that going through the preliminaries to get into the right marriage with the right guy or girl is key to ultimate success. Because if it doesn't start right, then it's not sustainable and it becomes a problem for everybody. So this episode of Dove Eyes with Chinwekala has been really about preparing you and making you understand the few things that could be important, that are important in terms of defining relationships, defining yourself, defining relationships, and eventually getting into marriage. If you were to take time and just listen and think about it, you will see that it makes a lot of sense, and it will guide you in your future decisions as you go into marriage. Now, in times past, people used to have arranged marriages and they worked. Husbands and wives eventually began to love each other, and they began to and raise children who thrive in their love. So it's possible for God to arrange you, and that's what I'm saying. And that's what He really does when you meet that guy, you think you like him, you don't know that there's been some hand at work bringing it all together and arranging it. And that's what I'm encouraging for you to do, to allow God into your life to the point where He can arrange it all, and then you can have a good time in marriage. I hope we've made sense, and I'm hoping that as you've heard us, you'll be able to do something with the information that you've gotten, because it will make all the difference. Trust me. Okay? So, thanks so much for joining us again on Dove Eyes with Chinwekala. It's been great talking about it. It's one of my favorite topics. I can talk about this from now till tomorrow, because my passion and my greatest desire is to see happy homes. Young people get into happy homes with good men and good women, and having children and raising them in homes that make sure that those children also come out good. That is my desire for every couple and every young person that I meet. So I talk about it again and again and again. And so I hope you've gotten something today. Last thing I must say before I go is that when you do all your checks and it's not the right person, please have the confidence and self-assurance to say bye-bye and move on. Something else is ahead for you. Sometimes you don't get what God has for you until you let go what you don't need. Okay? I'll leave you with that. I'll see you again same time next week. Have a good time. Bye-bye.